Are we together? Hi. Are we together? Sisters, hi. So the first unit of English language is what? The morpheme. After the morpheme, we have the words, phrases, clause, and sentences. We're going to explain these 5 units before we proceed into the next. Morpheme, 1. Words, the second. Then phrases, the third. Clause and sentences, lastly. Okay, no time, so I'll just go straight to the definition of morpheme. Are we together now? We've written out the 5, yeah? We've written out the 5. Okay, so simply put, morpheme refers to the smallest and the simplest meaningful units. The smallest and the simplest meaningful units. Simplest meaningful units. The smallest unit in English language, and as a unit on its own, it has meaning. Do we understand? An example of a morpheme is what? A gun. Are we together? A gun. You see, as the word is very short, very simple, and at the same time it has a meaning. Do you understand? So if they said, if I come up to you and I say gun, automatically you understand what gun is, yeah? So that's what morpheme is about. Run. Simple, short, very brief, and it has meaning. Do we understand what morpheme is? Then now, secondly, we are also going to look at word. The word contains one or more sounds which can be spoken to represent an idea. We know what words are, yeah? Are we writing down the definition? The morpheme, firstly, morpheme refers to the smallest and the simplest meaningful units. Simplest and smallest and simplest meaningful units. Are we together? Then words. The words contain one or more sounds which can be spoken to represent an idea. To represent an idea. Then thirdly, we have the phrases. What are phrases? We've been hearing of phrase before now, yeah? Okay, phrases are a small group of words forming a part of a sentence without a finite verb. The key note under the definition of phrases is what? Finite verb. Without finite verb. Are we together? Then clauses. We've written phrases here. We understand what phrases are. Morpheme. No, I'll come again, don't worry. Morpheme, smallest and simplest meaningful units. Smallest and simplest meaningful units. We understand what morpheme is. Then words contains one or more sounds which can be spoken to represent an idea. Then phrases represents small group of words forming part of a sentence without a finite verb. Smallest and simplest meaningful units. Words is one or more sounds to represent an idea. Phrase, no, words, one or more sounds to represent an idea. Phrases are a group of small group of words without a finite verb. Do you understand those 3 so far? We do. Then now, fourthly, a clause is a group of words forming part of a sentence containing a subject and a finite verb. The difference between a clause and a phrase is the presence of a subject and a finite verb. The phrase does not have a subject, neither does it have a finite verb, while the clause has a subject and a finite verb. Do we understand what I'm trying to say? Phrase, by way of definition, phrase refers to a small group of words that does not possess a finite verb. Like, it doesn't have any finite verb. While clause, on the other hand, is the opposite of a phrase. A phrase is a small group of words that has a subject and a finite verb. Do we understand? We understand the difference between the both of them. Now, the essence why I am going through this definition is because these definitions will give us basis on how we are going to answer questions come the examination. Then, going further, we'll be looking at the definition of sentence. What's a sentence, anybody? Sentence. Thank you very much. That's the perfect definition of subject. Phrase, no finite verb. Clause, subject and finite verb. While sentence is what? Okay. Phrase, no finite verb. Are we together? Clause, finite verb and a subject. While a sentence contains a subject, a verb itself, and lastly, an object. Thank you very much. Then we have types of sentences. We have complex, we have simple sentences. We know what simple sentences are, yeah? Hello. We know what simple sentences are. We know what compound sentences are now. What's the difference between a simple sentence and a compound sentence? Okay, I will. Sure. Then a simple sentence is just a sentence that contains what? A subject, a verb, and an object by way of definition. Just, you gave me the definition of sentence now, so automatically you understand. The definition of sentence now is not the definition of a simple sentence. Compound sentence. Compound sentence contains two different sentences that are joined together with what? A conjunction. We know what conjunctions are, yeah? And their compound are joined with a conjunction, which is and, but, or. Do you understand? So that's the difference between simple sentences and what? Compound sentences. So we understand what morphemes are, yeah? What are they? Smallest and simplest meaningful unit. The next one is what? Words. Words are what? One or more sound used to represent an idea. While the next one is what? Phrases. A small group of words that does not possess what? A finite verb. Very important to note. Finite verb is the key word in that definition. Then clauses are a small group of words that possess what? A subject and a finite verb. Finite verb. Come, let me give you a definition, an example of finite verbs. The finite verb are words. Example of finite verbs are words. Okay, let me give you an example of phrases. An example of phrase is what? A poor boy, a wicked hunter, walking along a pack of cards. While for example of clauses are that book was stolen. Who is the chairman of the club? What is? Wait, sorry, excuse me. Sorry, I'll come back to your question. Just remind me, finite verbs. Yeah, we'll get back to that. Then we understand what sentences are, yeah? Then with that, I think we are done with the introduction. So,
what about
complex and compound? Okay.
Compound complex.
For complex sentences, a complex sentence is a sentence with one independent or main clause and one or more dependent or subordinate clauses. Now we understand. Okay, chill. We'll come to it. Do we know what we refer to as independent and dependent? Independent and dependent on its own. We understand what it means, yeah? So now when we say a clause is independent, what do we mean? It can stand on its own. Then when you say the clause is dependent, what do we mean? Thank you very much. Then now when we say clause, we know what clause is now. We've already gone through our definition. Then now we now say a complex sentence now contains an independent clause and also a dependent clause in the sentence, which is to say a complex sentence is the combination of both independent clauses and dependent clauses. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? No, I know. The thing is the dependent clauses can be more. Just one independent clause. You understand what I try to? One independent clause, one or more dependent clauses. We know what independent is now. We know what dependent. Let me give us an example to help us. This boy this boy who was caught stealing oranges. Okay, sorry, this is the boy who was caught stealing oranges. Are we together? If I just come up to you and say this is the boy, it is an independent clause on its own. You understand what I'm trying to say? So if I just stop at that, you understand what I'm trying to say. But when I now go further and say, okay, who was caught stealing oranges? The who was caught stealing oranges in this situation is what? The dependent clause. Who was, when I just come up to you and say, who was caught stealing oranges? You understand anything? No, but you now need the independent clause from the beginning, which is now, this is the boy who was caught stealing oranges. So from this sentence, automatically, you know, this is the boy is the independent clause, while who was caught stealing oranges is what? The dependent clause. Do we understand? So you understand now that complex sentences are now the combination of both of them. Do we understand, or should I come again? Should I come again? I'm coming. I'm still coming to come out complex sentences. We understand what sentences are, yeah? Hi. Hello, everybody. So sentences, we said it contains what? A subject, a verb, and an object. Then we have simple sentences and compound sentences. Compound sentences are the combination of two sentences with what? The use of conjunctions. Are we understanding me? With the use of conjunctions. Then I will now go further into complex sentences now. Then we say complex sentences here are the combination of what? One independent main clause and one or more independent.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Independent and independent. One is main and one is subordinate.
Yes, the independent is what? The main. While the dependent is the subordinate. You can use either language. Okay, let me use the main and subordinate. The complex sentences comprises of what? A main clause and a subordinate clause. Then the example I threw to the house is what? This is the boy who was caught stealing oranges. Then now, in this sentence I just gave to you now, this is the boy can stand on its own. If I just come up or walk up to anybody and I'm like, okay, this is the boy, I might as well end the sentence there. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Which goes to tell us that, okay, this is the boy is the main clause. Do we understand? Do we understand what I'm trying to say? This is the boy in this situation is the main clause. But when I now go further, or I walk up to someone and say, who was caught stealing oranges? Standing on its own, it makes no sense, which goes to tell us what subordinate clauses is all about. It cannot stand on its own, or it cannot make any sense on its own, unless it is attached. Unless it is attached to what? A main clause. Do we understand? Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
Hi, do we understand?
Yes.
Then compound, I think. Okay, then we said complex sentences possess just one. But now compound complex possess two independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. Two independent for compound complex and one dependent. Two main clauses and just one subordinate clause. Hello, are we together? Sure. Two independent and one dependent. Okay, sorry. Two main clauses and one subordinate clause. For complex, it has just one main clause and two subordinate clauses. But for compound, two or more, sorry, rather. But for compound complex, it has two main, just one subordinate. That's the difference between the both of them. Do we understand? Then now, an example of a compound complex sentence is, your creditor came yesterday when you were not at home, but I was able to pay him. Your creditor came yesterday when you were not at home, but I was able to pay him. So given this sentence I just threw to the house, now can anybody tell me what's the two, how many?
We have two main and one subordinate.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't really talk. So help me with this thing. Which one is the main and which one is the subordinate?
I didn't get the question.
Your creditor came yesterday.
Your creditor came.
Wait, sorry.
I was able to pay him. It's also an independent clause.
Then what is the subordinate? What is it?
When you were not around,
it's independent.
Okay, thank you. Then the teacher flogged him because he jumped the fence.
Then we can have a conversation like,
The teacher flogged him because he jumped the fence.
The teacher flogged him.
Because he jumped the fence.
Because he jumped, the teacher jumped the maid.
The teacher did what? The teacher flogged him because he jumped the fence.
The teacher flogged him.
So which one is the main?
He jumped the fence with his subordinate.
So yeah.
That one is complex.
Wow, I didn't know that. Thank you very much. This is the girl who danced very well at the party.
This is the girl with the maid, and that's the subordinate. That is complex.
The woman walked into the sitting room and found Olu sitting on the chair. What form of sentence is that? The woman walked into the sitting room and found Olu sitting on the chair. Compound. Why? The presence. Thank you very much. So the speakers came into the hall when the light was off, but they were able to address the students. How? Explain. Are we together? Are we together? So now the hack for, or the cheat code to answering compound complex sentences is that the clause in the middle is usually the subordinate clause. Do we understand? So it's easy that way. Then when it comes to complex sentences, the clause ending the sentence is your subordinate clause. Do we understand what I'm trying to say? Like this one now, we said your creditor came yesterday when you were not. Your creditor came yesterday when you were not at home, but I was able to pay him. If you observe, when you were not at home is the clause in the middle. So automatically, the one in the middle is your subordinate clause when it comes to compound complex sentences. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Then when it now comes to complex sentences, this clause ending your sentence is your subordinate clause, your dependent clause. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Then I think that's all for that. I'll still come back to finite and infinite verbs. Then going further, we'll be looking at, we are done with intro. We'll be looking at synonyms and antonyms together. Then I want to believe we've been hearing the word synonyms and antonyms before now. No, in no particular order. We're coming back to them, don't worry. Then we've been hearing synonyms and antonyms, yeah? So what are synonyms, quickly? Thank you. Then what are antonyms? Nearest in meanings. Opposite in meaning. Then when answering questions underlining synonyms and antonyms, it is very important for you to read your questions very well. Very, very important. And in most cases, the word you are supposed to synonymize, or the word that you're supposed to find the nearest in meaning for is usually put in all capital letters. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Or in some cases, they bolding it. They taking the word. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Then another thing that is very important when answering questions under synonyms and antonyms is that you need to understand the context to which that word is being used. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Who understands what I mean by context? Exactly. And let me give you an example. I think an example I gave you the last time I was there, I said, assuming I was just working, I said, okay, I saw a particular guy playing for, I was like, oh, this guy bad though. Remember, bad by default means that, okay, this person is not good at all. But in that context, yeah, I'm trying to say, okay, this guy is actually a very good footballer. So that's why it is very important for you to understand the context to which you are to answer the questions. Are we together? Then now, we said synonyms are words that are nearest in meaning. Antonyms are opposites in meanings. I'm going to throw a couple of words at us and see if we can be able to answer. Okay, first things first. Understand the meaning of the word. Very important. Understand the meaning of the word. After you've understood the meaning of the word, it is now very important for you to determine the context in which that word is being used. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And context is very important, just as context is very important as the meaning of the word itself. Because in different contexts, words might have different meanings. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Then when answering or when going into the examination, it is very important when it comes to, if you see nearest in meaning, automatically they're asking you for what? Synonyms. If you see opposite in meaning, antonyms. And the word you are supposed to find the synonym of or the antonym for is usually thickened, either in capital letters or bolding. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Just give me a minute to find 58. Terrify. Synonym. No, just give me the basic synonyms.
Is it terrified or terrified?
Terrify. No options. Synonyms. If I say frightened, am I correct? Frightened. Okay. Then what are the antonyms for terrify? Okay. Okay, so I think let's okay, so the thing is once you're answering questions like this, yeah, they're just going to, if it's synonyms, they're just going to give you one word that is closest in meaning, then the others will be far apart from the meaning. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So now what we are trying to do now is just to test our understanding of certain words. Do we understand? So it doesn't necessarily have to be the direct opposite or the nearest in meaning. Do we understand? So I'm just trying to see if we truly understand what these words mean. Do we understand? So no wrong answers, as I said earlier. Then the synonym for terminate. Okay.
I don't know, sometimes
Exactly. That's I say right now we are just looking for the meaning to see if we understand the meaning of this word. That's why I said in what's it called? In synonym and antonym, context is very important because they are not just going to write out the word. In most cases, they are not just going to write out the word. They might give you a sentence or a particular phrase or a clause. Then it's now left for you to determine the words, the context. Very important, just as the meaning of the word. Do you understand? But what we are doing right now is what? Trying to see if we understand the meaning of the words written down here. Do we get? Are we together? Everybody. Then the synonym of torture. Torture. Reprimand is to arrest, or to conceal, or to take it to custody. Sorry, what happens in hell? Hell. Okay, let's see. Punishment. Punish can go for torture. Then also torment. Torment is the nearest. Do we understand? Then the synonym for coerce. To coerce somebody. To coerce.
Right now, it depends on the context.
No, wait.
Something like force. Like coerce is sort of like sorrow type.
Coerce. No, not that one. That's why I spelled it out. Yeah. So what is the synonym for coerce? Pressure works. Force works also. Yeah, it is. Laugh at my handwriting. To force, to compel, to pressure, all synonyms of coerce. Then extravagant. Wasteful, lavish, exaggerated. Thank you very much. Then the synonym for infinite. Unlimited, yes. Limitless can also work, not limit. Continuous, thank you. Immortal. Okay. Then tasteless. Tasteless can be uninteresting, boring, insipid. Then for brave, we have bold and fearless. So basically, we understand what synonyms are all about here, so we don't have to waste our time. Then antonyms of the same word I asked. The antonym for terrifying. Calm, okay. Are we familiar with the word optimism? What is the antonym for optimism? Thank you very much. Then to listen, antonym for listen. Listing. Antonym. The antonym for listen. The antonym will be to ignore. Yeah. Then to coerce. Sorry, hold on. Then humility. Humble. Antonym for humility. Proud, pride, pompous, all works. Thank you. Then extinction. He said what? Extinction. When they said something has gone into extinction, what does it mean? So what is the antonym for extinction? Extinction is what? Sorry, extinction is what? Existence is the antonym. Thank you very much. Then to preserve. Antonym. To waste, to destroy. So to preserve means to keep or to save for later date. While the antonym for preserve is what? To destroy or to waste. Are we together? Do we understand so far? Then also harmful. Antonym for harmful. Okay, thank you. Harmless. Any other antonym? Safe. Okay, yeah. Depending on the context you're speaking from. Then boring.
Interesting.
Exciting, lively, alive. Thank you very much. To attract. Opposite antonym for attract. Thank you very much. Who said repel? Thank you very much. To repel is the direct opposite of this thing. Of attract. Then abnormal. Wow. Convict. Sorry, what is convict? Okay, use the word reprimanded instead, because it's a legal term. Then convict. You've convicted somebody. If you want to undo the conviction you've done, what do you do? Not evict. This is not BBN. Release works. Then the direct opposite of convict is what? To acquit. Do you understand? Acquit is the direct opposite of convict. Then I think that's all for under. Sure. Please ask.
No, there is this term that we say that I'm here to convince you. So you want to put that convince into the word that went inside. How do you feel? Like
Conviction. Okay, conviction. Exactly, that's where context now matters. Because if in a courtroom now I said we want to, if the judge says he wants to convict somebody, then you now in a debate say your conviction can also mean, what's it called? Your conviction can also mean a certain belief that you hold strongly. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Then the opposite of that conviction will now be doubt or certainty. But to convict now, in this case, in a courtroom or in a illegal setting, is now to acquit will now be the opposite. Do you understand why context is now very important? Yeah, so that's that for synonyms and antonyms. Then now we'll be going into emphatic stress. I didn't write emphatic stress. Emphatic stress. The reason why we are doing emphatic stress immediately after synonyms and antonyms is because they are in one way or the other aligned. Are we together? Have we heard of emphatic stress before now? Yes. Okay, thank you. So it's easier that way. I think it is page 268. Page 269 rather. So now emphatic stress, page 260 now. Emphatic stress is used to focus attention on a piece of information within a sentence. Usually, only word content words are stressed, but when attention is drawn to a particular piece of information, words other than content words such as prepositions, articles, pronouns can be stressed. In summary, forget everything I just read. When addressing questions under emphatic stress, you are going to see a particular word that comes in capital letter, or it's going to be ticking, or it's going to be bolded. Now, what you are going to do to that word that is being put in capital letter or bolded is now you now find the direct opposite of that word. Hi, are we together? Emphatic stress. When addressing questions under emphatic stress, yeah, this is what you do. Oh, sorry, this is how the questions come. Well, they will give you a particular phrase or a sentence depending on how they want to set it. After they do give you that sentence or phrase, they will now give you a particular word that is now either in capital letters or it is now ticking or bold. You understand what I mean by ticking or bolding now? And it's now left for you now to find the emphatic stress of that particular word. And in most cases, they are asking you to find the direct opposite of those words. That's why it's coming directly after antonyms. Do we understand now? Hi, do we understand what I'm trying to say? Yes, then let's go into examples. Maybe it will help us better. John scrubs the floor every Saturday, and our emphatic stress is on Saturday. Option A, does Peter scrub the floor every Saturday? Option B, does John scrub the floor every Saturday? Option C, does John scrub the wall every Saturday? Option D, does John scrub the floor every Sunday? So we understand how it works now. The direct opposites, the odd one out of it all. Are we together? So the one that is now highlighted, yeah, that's the word. The word that is now highlighted, you now look for the direct opposite. Do we understand? Then now let's go into another. The officer accepted the bribe. Our emphatic stress is on what? Accepted. Option A, did the officer accept a bribe? Option B, did the officer accept the gift? Option C, did the officer reject the bribe? Option. So we understand what emphatic stress is now. No need to dwell on it so much. Then next we'll be going into question tags. In no particular order, I said. Then after that we'll be treating past questions. Sorry, let me just look for the page number. Wait, we understand what the 5 units of what did I even call it? The 5 units of English language are, yeah? What are the 5 units? Then sentences, we have what? Okay, thank you. So what is the difference between complex and compound complex?
Complex have one main and one or more subordinates. While compound complex has 2 main and one subordinate.
Then why is compound sentence a compound sentence? A conjunction. Thank you very much. Then one more question is what if I am to look for the words nearer in meaning? What am I looking for? Then opposite in meaning, antonyms. Then which word exactly am I going to be addressing under emphatic stress?
One directly opposite.
Which word am I to address? Thank you very much. So that's it. Then we're going into what now? Question tag. Sorry, just let me look for the page number. I just one I saw question tags. Oh, sorry, I'll just use the past questions under question tag. Let's attempt the past questions for question tags. Concord. Sorry, 1 minute, I'll be with you. thought I saw question tag there. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Hi, are we together now? So under question tag now, this first question under question tag, are we together? Are we listening? Hi, heads up please. You can travel on your own. Option A, can't you? Option B, don't you? Option C, couldn't you? Why can't you? Can anybody explain it to me?
Because when they sentence is
So now going by your logic, now we're also giving couldn't you. It's also negative. Now why are we not using couldn't you?
because for the question you cannot compare
Okay, so when addressing hi.
Directly negative.
Okay, I think that's it. I'm still trying to look for that word. Are we together? So when addressing question tags problems, yeah, it is very important for you to know that if the question is coming out as negative, your verb or your question tag should be what? Positive. When the question is coming out as negative, your question tag should be what? Positive. So like now we said you can travel on your own. Automatically we know the question tag is going to be negative. Then our question tag is what? Can't you? Then I'm going to read out a couple of other questions and I'll be expecting to hear the question tags from you guys. The next question is he is still sleeping. Is not he? Wasn't he? Okay. You do go to school. Let's go for a walk. Nobody called. I think it's because you guys have seen this question tags a whole lot. I'm coming. Sorry, let me see if I can find. I saw this thing on my book now. Why is it? Okay, that's nice. Love it. Okay. They will wash the car. Okay. We must lock the door. I'm right. Why not aren't I? No. I said I'm. Why not I'm not I? Okay. Okay, sure. So you bought a car.
You bought a car, didn't you bought a car?
Sorry, hold on, let me see this thing. Number 10. Nope. So you bought a car, didn't you?
Yes,
You enjoyed the journey. You enjoyed. Okay, you will beat the rich. Wow. Okay. They ought to have gone.
Ought not.
Yeah, so we understand question tags, yeah? Ought not they? Oughtn't they? So we understand question tag. Now we are left with lexes and structures, idioms, punctuations, concord, and sounds. Yeah, under sounds. We treat that under sound. Figures of speech. Then let's see the nearest one now. Should we look at verbs? Let's look at verbs. I forgot to add it. It's on my sure. Then after that we're going into idioms and figures of speech. Then verbs is page what? Sorry, definition of verbs, anybody?
Less than
Action was for doing it.
Wow. Wow. So we know the definition of verbs. And nobody's even going, okay, I think they might not, will they? Did they ask anybody definition of verb in JAMB? Okay. So now we have types of verbs. The two types of verbs we have are regular verbs and irregular verbs. Regular verbs and irregular verbs. Then what are regular verbs? For regular verbs take the form of ed to form their past tense. Right, if you would. They take ed to form their past tense. While for irregular verbs, their past tense are formed in different ways. There is no fixed way as to how they form their past tense. Regular verbs, irregular, there is no fixed way to form their past tense and their past participle. Then we're going to look at examples of these verbs. Our first example is what? For regular verb, we have plan. What is the past tense of plan? We have, sorry, oh God, my book has closed. We have, what is the past tense of ride? Then what does that tell us? Irregular verb. Thank you very much. Then what is the past tense of consume? Okay, pronounce. Go. Past participle of go. Thank you. Then hit. Yeah, heated. Heated is the past tense of hit. Then present. Present. Presented. Thank you very much. Then looking at irregular verbs, we have take. What is the past tense of take? Past participle. Did you just say tukun? Past tense of draw. Draw. Past participle. Like to sleep. Then, thank you. Then to rise. It's lean, not lead. It is lean. Then to rise. Past tense of rise is what? Past participle. Past tense of read. Sorry. Okay, sure. Past tense of, sorry, just chill. There's a particular word I'm looking for. Sorry, I'll come back to it. Then the past tense of go, we've looked at that. Right. Then what is the antonym of right? No, rights as in. Thank you. I'll just be asking random questions to be sure we still understand. And tomorrow is Positiemi. I'm asking a question, tag question. Okay, we've looked at the two types of verbs, yeah, and we said the two types of verbs are the regular verbs and irregular verbs. Then going forward, we have the main verbs and auxiliary verbs. Anybody help me out? I don't know what that is at all. I've never heard of those words. Okay, sorry. Then let's go back to complex sentences. What are main clauses? Oh, so now, okay, no. What are main clauses?
Main clauses are like sentences.
Clauses that can stand on their own. Now, then use that definition now. Bring it back to verb. What are main verbs? Exactly. So now we'll now say auxiliary verbs. So definitely, you see everywhere there's. You understand? You said? A helping verb. Thank you very much. So now we have main verb. We said main verbs are verbs that can stand on their own, while the auxiliary verbs are verbs that cannot stand on their own. Rather, they are used as, they serve as helping hands to the main verb. Then example of a main verb is, sorry, I'll give you examples and you tell me if the verb in question here is an auxiliary verb or is a main verb. And the verbs, once you see questions like this, the verbs are usually highlighted in the sense that it can either be ticked in bolding or in capital letters. We understand? Hi, thank you. So now the boy has been coming to school the boy has been coming to school regularly. Has been is our word.
That's auxiliary verb.
Explain. Anybody?
Has been can't stand on its own. Like, not just has been.
Because something that comes after is the verb that is helpful.
Anybody here? The boy has been coming to school regularly. Which? So what is the helping verb there? Okay, so yeah, has been is the auxiliary verb there, and the has been is supporting the main verb, which is coming. Then now we said the boy comes home by himself after school. Comes is the main verb. Thank you very much. So we understand what main verb and auxiliary verbs are all about here. Then going further, we'll be looking at quickly without having to waste. Thank you. Streets Concord. Sorry, before Concord. Hold on. I'm still looking for. Okay, somebody asked what is the difference between what is finite verb. Then I said we are going to look at finite verbs and non-finite verbs. Anybody wants to help me out?
Finite verb.
Yeah, non-finite verb. Sorry, hold on. No wrong answers. Tell me. You said? No, that's main verb. That's my main verb. Then for finite verb, they said finite verb is limited by number and person. That is to say, finite verb must be in agreement. Finite verb is the agreement between the subject and the There must be agreement between the verb and the subject in number and person. Hold on, I'm coming. But before we come to finite verb, let's go back to Concord. Let's look at Concord before. Now, what is Concord?
The agreement between
Concord simply means, Concord means agreement between verbs. Then we're going to look at questions underlining Concord to see if we truly understand. Ayo dashed to his friends twice a week. Attend, attends, attending, attended. Why attend?
Attend
Singular sub. Okay, thank you very much. Like it says, when the subject is singular, it takes a singular verb, and when the subject is plural, a plural verb follows. Do we understand? Anything confusing about Concord? Then also it says, when two or more singular subjects are connected by and, a plural verb is used. When two or more singular subjects are connected by and, a plural verb is used. The first one says when the subject is singular, it takes a singular verb. Like the example I gave was, Ayo attends to his friend twice a week. A singular subject is taking the form of a singular verb. Then now, the second rule of Concord is when two or more singular subjects are connected by and, a plural verb is used. An example I'm going to give to us is the principal and his wife dash wonderful. The principal and his wife is wonderful. The principal and his wife were wonderful. The principal and his wife are wonderful. Why are wonderful? We said two subjects connected with and. We understand? Singular subject, singular verb. Plural subject connected with and, a plural verb. Do we understand? Then I think there's another instance here. Okay, they said, however, there are some exceptions to rule 2. The first rule is what? Then rule 2 is what? Then what are we going to use? Plural verb. Then now, however, there are some exceptions to rule 2. When the two singular subjects are connected by and but refer to the same person or thing, you make use of what? Singular verb. Do you understand? Do you understand? My sister and confidant is very hardworking. Okay, I said the word. Okay, my brother and his friend dash the same opinion with me on political issues.
And his friend. And friends.
Sorry, my brother and friend dash the same opinion with me on political issues. Share, shared, shares, sharing, shares. So you understand the exception to rule 2, yeah?
Yes.
Then now, they dash here every day. Comes, go, come, every day. Okay. Okay, let's see. Taiwo and Kainde dash things in common. Taiwo and Kainde dash things in common. Okay, correct. My sister and my confidant dash very hardworking, is or are. My sister and my confidant dash exactly. There's another subject again. My sister is a subject on its own. My confidant is another subject. Do we understand? So you're making use of what? A plural verb. Do we are very hardworking, yeah. Then I think are there other rules? When the rule number, okay, let's say we have rule number 1, rule number 2, then the exception to rule number 2 is what? Our rule number 3. Are we together? Then rule number 4 states when a singular subject is connected to other subjects by, as well as, including with, together with, along with, in addition to, a singular verb is used. Are we together? Yes. When a singular subject is connected to other subjects, when one subject is connected with other subjects, when one subject is connected to another subject with the following conjunction I'm about to mention now, and those conjunctions are as well as, including with, together with, along with, in addition to, a singular verb is used. Do we understand? Yes. Then now example the king together with his chief encourages the militant youth. Okay, English language as well as biology dash compulsory. Are compulsory? Is compulsory. Okay. Gambling in addition to women are Godwin's Achilles heel. English language as well as biology are compulsory. Is compulsory. Thank you very much. Gambling in addition, no, the rule states that when a singular subject is connected to other subjects, when one person is connected to another person with this conjunction as well as, including with, together with, along with, in addition to, you make use of what? A singular verb. You understand? So that's why is the word there.
What criteria are we going to use?
Okay, criteria that we are going to use a plural verb. It is when two or more singular subjects are connected by and. Yeah, that's when we make use of what? A plural verb. Or when the subjects are plural.
cannot be matter.
Singular.
Different subject matters. So but if that first subject is plural.
Yeah, you make use of a plural verb. So rule number 1, when the subject is singular, it takes a singular verb. And when the subject is plural, it takes what? A plural verb. That's our rule number 1. Then rule number 2 says, when 2 or more singular verbs are connected by and, a plural verb is used. Plural verbs is used when 2 subjects, when 2 people, when 2 things are connected by and, you make use of what? A plural verb. We know what plural verbs are now. Then now, going further, our rule number 3 says, when 2 singular subjects which are connected by and refer to the same person or thing, a singular verb is used. Then lastly, rule number 4, is it lastly? No, not lastly, there are still more rules. Rule number 4 states, when a singular subject is connected to other subjects, whether singular or plural, by, as well as, including with, together with, along with, in addition to, a singular verb is being used. Do we understand? You are supposed to be writing this down now. You have it down already. Okay, then rule number 5 states, when indefinite pronouns like nobody, anybody, anyone, someone, no one, none, everybody are subjects in a sentence, a singular verb is used. Then let's see. Gambling, in addition to women, are Godwin's Achilles heel. Gambling, in addition to women, is, thank you very much. Why is it is? In addition to, and giving our rule number 4. Thank you very much. Then our rule number 5 states, when indefinite pronouns, we know what indefinite pronouns are now. Nobody, anybody can be used to refer to anything or regardless of. No, somebody, no one, none, everybody are subjects in a sentence. A singular verb is used. Do we understand? Then we say somebody dash in at night to steal the blind woman's money. Somebody sneaks in, somebody sneaked, somebody sneak. Sneaks, why? Singular verb. And giving the rule, when indefinite pronouns like nobody, anybody, everybody, none, no one are subjects in a sentence, a singular verb is used. Everybody dash what pleases the boss. Does. Thank you very much. Then we'll also look at past questions on this topic. I'm still coming back to it. So that's that on Concord. Okay, I think I still have one more rule to look at. Rule number 6. In a complex sentence, remember we've done complex sentence. You see how one. Sorry, come.
I said, she was saying that the number of students, and also
a number of students. Give me the sentence completely. Give me the sentence. A number of students attended the 9th class. Exactly. I think that's the next rule we are about to go into. Okay, so in a complex sentence, are we together? It's a complex sentence you are giving to me. So it says, in a complex sentence, the antecedent of the relative pronoun that acts as the subject of the subordinate clause determines the verb. The antecedent of the relative pronoun that acts as the subject of the subordinate clause determines the verb. Now let's take this for example. The military officer is one of the past leaders who dash embodiment of corruption. Oh, okay. Is or are, that's just what I'm going to. The retired military officer is one of the past leaders who is or are embodiment of the retirement. Sorry, Jesus, have mercy. The retired military officer is one of the past leader who is embodiment of corruption or who are embodiments of corruption. Eh? It's not is. It's with that it's here. Yeah. Let me look for it. The retired military officer is one of the past leaders who are embodiments of corrupt.
Leaders is what you're going to do, not
Exactly.
this kind of
Then you said I'm trying to get a good number of students attends the 9th class. I think it's going to be a singular verb. Attends. Yeah?
For that one, no, it should be like the singular, because of the one that.
I think look, this is the rule. In a complex sentence, the antecedent of the relative pronoun that acts as subject of the subordinate clause determines the verb. Again, the sentence they gave to us, the retired military officer is one of the past leaders. Who now is what? The pronoun. That's an antecedent. What we mean by antecedent is the word that comes just before the verb.
okay.
Do you understand? So the word that comes before now will now determine the verb you are going to make use of. Assuming we said the retired military officer is one of the past leader. Okay, sorry. Okay, I understand the confusion now. I think I'm seeing it now. Hold on. I'll be coming back to rule number 6 again. What's the time? 4:81. And we still have figures of speech, idioms, sounds, lexemes and structures, punctuations. Let's see what we can do. Let's quickly look at figures of speech now. Sorry, I'll be coming back to that Concord. I'll just use past questions to address the Concord issue. Then we've been hearing of figure of speech, yeah? Figures of speech. And I think there's, idioms first. Where's idioms? Okay. Idioms. Let's look at idioms before we go into figures of speech. Or which one? Okay, 238, they're together. Quickly, let's go. Okay, in the examination, you'll be given some idiomatic expressions. And after you are given those idiomatic expressions, you will now be asked to find the meaning or select the option that best explains the idiomatic expression. We understand what we mean by idiomatic expressions now. Make hay while the sun shines is an example of what? Idiomatic expression. Are we together? So now, we said the students were advised to make hay while the sun shines. What does it mean? Okay, so an example of, the nearest or the given explanation to that idiomatic expression is to take advantage of favorable conditions. Read while it is still day. Wash while it is still sunny. You understand what I'm trying to say? So that's just what the idiomatic expression is trying to talk about. Just stay up, please, for just 30 more minutes. Please do not sleep. 30 more minutes and we should be done. Then Dele was said to have an itching palm. Itchy palm.
Maybe you do steal.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Dele was corrupt. Do you understand? Itchy palm. It means Dele was corrupt. The thief. You understand? Then the next example we have is it became apparent that Kofi had an axe to grind in the matter. It became apparent that Kofi had an axe to grind. Axe to grind. Axe to grind is not suggestion exactly.
He has an uncompleted task.
Uncompleted task is a way to put it, okay? Any other suggestion? An axe to grind in simple or layman terms cannot be say he has beef or he has an interest in that particular issue. Do you understand? If I have an axe to grind with you, it means maybe we have an unsettled issue or I have a certain interest in your issue. You understand what I'm trying to say? So that's what axe to grind means. Then Dario is noted for calling a spade a spade. When I say call a spade, what does it mean?
Don't try to cover.
Exactly. Do not sugarcoat it, saying it as it is. Do we understand? Then, there are a whole lot of idiomatic expressions and I want us to go through them tonight. And The students understood very little of the lecturer's speech because most of what he said went over their heads.
They don't understand.
It was above their understanding. They did not understand it. So we understand what over their heads means. Then he was up to his neck in problems. Up to his neck in problems. Otusumi. Yeah, that's it. He is always blowing hot and cold.
Blowing hot and cold. Like, you don't know, maybe just.
He's a very confused person. They change mind always. So that's what idiomatic expressions mean. Always blowing hot and cold, changes his opinions or changes his mind every single time. Thank you very much. Unpredictable best explains it. Then went over their heads, above their understanding, calling a spade, saying it as it is. Then make haze while the sun shines, making the most of favorable conditions. Then also the two sides decided to bury the hatchets. To bury the hatchet, what does it mean? To bury the hatchet simply means to just settle, put an end to their quarrel or whatsoever. You understand? So that's what burying the hatchet means. The chairman declared that the chairman declared that what he was going to say should be off the record.
Not be written down or
Like something that has never happened before.
no.
Off the record simply means should not be recorded. You understand? John tried to throw dust in my eyes. Yeah.
Shame. Try to shame.
Shame. Disgrace, not exactly. Exactly. Try to throw dust in my eyes, trying to deceive me. You understand? Trying to throw dust in someone's eye means you are trying to deceive that person. So we understand. Are we getting it? We are trying to kill two birds with one stone. Very common now. Shortcut is also a way to put it. Yeah, achieving two things at one go. Yeah. So the students' crisis over the increase in school fees has now come to a head. It has now come to a head. What does it mean? Come to a head. Head.
That the authorities have now added their complaint.
Sorry, take it. The students' crisis over the increase in school fees has now come to a head. Exactly, it has gotten to a very critical stage now. They can no longer contain it. You understand? The crisis has gotten to a very critical stage. Then, after a protracted war, the weaker camp held out the olive branch. To hold out the olive branch means what? To hold out the olive branch or to wave the white flag. Are we waving white flag? Exactly. We are calling for peace now. We are ready to we don't tire to the fight. You understand? Then holding out the olive branch or waving the white flag is the same thing. It means you are calling out for peace or you are ready to make peace. Then Bolaji is light-fingered. Thank you very much. Femi was advised not to be an escapist, but to take the bull by the horn. To take the bull by the horn. Yes, face his fears, face his problems, be brave, face it head on. Thank you. Then I promise to repay the money in 2 weeks' time as a gentleman's agreement. Yeah. 5 more minutes. Okay. Sure. I think. Okay. So we understand what idioms are, yeah? Then I think, no, we've not done lessons and structure. Let me just quickly go to figures of speech real quick. Then figures of speech, we have simile. Hi, are we together? Under figures of speech, we have simile, we have metaphor, we have personification, we have hyperbole, euphemism, irony, paradox, oxymoron, rhetorical questions, and lithotes. Sorry. And quickly, what are similes? To compare two things, yeah? Thank you very much. So, metaphor. Okay, so simile is the comparison of two different things with the use of as and like. Metaphor is the direct comparison of two different things without the use of as and like. Then now, the example of, sorry, I'll just read out a sentence. The woman charged at her tormentor like a wounded lion. The woman charged at her tormentor like a wounded lion. Why? Thank you very much. Then let's say I sat down and waited for the storm to break. I sat down and waited for the storm to break. Metaphor it is. Metaphor is the direct comparison between two essentially different things without the use of as, or like. Then personification. We know what personification is now. Yeah. Giving inanimate things characteristics of humans or living things. Thank you very much. So if I said the engine just grumbled, the sun is smiling at me, you get, sorry sir. So we get what personification, metaphor and simile is, yeah? Real quick. Then hyperbole. What is hyperbole? Exaggeration, to exaggerate. So once you see a sentence that the exaggeration is more, automatically you know it is what? It is hyperbole. Then euphemism is what? Euphemism. Euphemism, sorry. Euphemism. Yeah, stating unpleasant facts in a pleasant way. I will not kick the bucket. Irony. What is irony? Okay, so chill. Let's calm down now. Simile, the use of as and like. Metaphor, without as and like. Then personification, we know personification by the name. Then we know hyperbole, exaggeration. Then euphemism is what? Unpleasant facts in pleasant ways. Do you understand? Then irony, the opposite of something. Do we get? Then euphemism, saying stating unpleasant facts in pleasant ways. He kicked the bucket. You don't die. So that's euphemism. Then, sorry, okay. Okay, the man passed away in the night. It's an unpleasant fact, but you are saying it in a very pleasant, not a very, you shall be pleasant, not so harsh manner, you get. Then irony, the direct opposite of a thing. I might be saying one thing, I might not be sarcastic. I'm a very short person. It's a very ironic, you understand. So now, oxymoron, paradox. Paradox, anybody? Paradox is a statement that seems contradictory. A statement that contradicts itself. Yeah, a code. You said? It's not necessarily a paradox if you look at it. A code flame. Code flame, you understand? You get that's what paradox is just all about. Oxymoron. Oxymoron is placing side by side two words that contradict each other. Sorry? Yeah, it is. Let me give you. Okay, it's a paradox occurs at sentence or statement level, while oxymoron is expressed at word level. The paradox will only exist in a sentence or statement, while oxymoron is just words. You understand? Maybe I might just place two words, or let's say three words, then inside those three words, you don't put two words that are contradicting each other. Like I said, a code flame is just two words I put out. But let's say, okay, I went to Nigeria today and it was snowing. Then that's a paradox. You are in the tropics, exactly. That's just, you understand what I'm trying to say. But if I said a code flame, it is what? An oxymoron. It's just word. While paradox is for sentence and statements. Are we together? Then rhetorical questions. Questions asked, but you are not expecting an answer in return. We know what rhetorical questions are. Then again, I'll just run through it again. Simile, with the use of as and like. Metaphor, without as or like. Then personification, human attributes to inanimate objects. Hyperbole, exaggeration. Then euphemism, unpleasant facts in pleasant ways. Irony, opposite of things. Then paradox, contradictory statements at statement level. Oxymoron, contradictory words. We understand. Then rhetorical questions, questions asked with no response expected. Then I think for the rest, we'll just try fast questions real quick before it is